Oh, there we go, guys. Completely forgot that I took the outro off the other day. The intro, sorry. So we're here. T Boys TV. We are here, obviously, for the Hat Show, and yeah, bit of news come out today that a lot of us wouldn't have expected on a Monday morning. Especially given by obviously our history last year, a lot of people thought maybe give him not as much time as we gave Edwards, but obviously a bit longer. But yeah, it's obviously come out that obviously Bloomfield officially has been sacked from the football club. There was rumours going around by Owen the Hatters. Shout out to him, obviously on Instagram this morning before the club see it and announced it. Sorry, and obviously a lot of people are like, no, you're chatting, you're chatting. I'm not gonna lie, I knew it was true as soon as I saw it. Not because I know any inside thing, just because I do follow that page when it comes to notifications. And obviously, he obviously has a know-how inside the club, and then obviously it come out there. A lot of people saw it, and then obviously it come out at 12 o'clock. Dad, you said to me you were just flickering, waiting for it to come out because you had the feeling it would at 12. And obviously I did do a video on it. Shout out to everyone. By the way, 4 new subscribers from that, so big up to everyone that has watched that and subscribed and all of that. But yeah, Dad, we'll get your thoughts on it as I spoke on it.
Uh, Mate, when Chris was here on Saturday when we was doing the watch along, obviously I left it early, etc. I was chatting. I said I think he's gone. Saw the videos afterwards. He didn't come up to the players, the fans. Sorry, sort of just run off meekly down the tunnel. Saw the faces of the board, Mick Harford and Gary Sweet, etc. Totally pissed off. Losing to rivals, it's not a good look. When they've spent not a lot of money, and we've been beating them on previous occasions, and a lot of like you said before, form out, not outcasts, but players that no longer required went there. So it's not really surprising to me. A lot of people on the remit that but they'd stick with him just because of the Rob Edwards thing. But I knew that they wouldn't make that mistake again. I mean, probably even if you go back on previous shows from early on when Bloomfield was with us and things like that, we said the same thing. They won't leave it as long this time. All they've got to do is make the right decision and not rushing, the appointment. And there's people out there which I won't touch with a barge pole. And this time we have gone before. We tried to emulate what we've done with Nathan Jones, but Nathan Jones is kind of one in a million. But we got lucky there really, and these young hungry ones that haven't got much experience at League One. And things like that. You don't really want to be looking at them. Your Rooney, your Wilshere, not for me, man. Like he played for us when he was a schoolboy. So what? Do you know what I mean? If you're going to give it to someone who ain't got much experience and things like that, you give it to someone who's played for the club. And he's possibly at the club now. People have said about Lawless and that, but again, the problem wasn't just Bloomfield in that respect. I said it to you before as well. Like his backroom staff, I didn't really do a lot of digging on them. But normally, when people bring in backroom staff, you've heard of them before. They've been around football for a long time. These guys, I think one of them was like managing a women's team and things like that, I guarantee you, not a lot of people knew their names until today, and that's a big part of it. So, look at Rob Edwards. He took in the Coventry assistant manager. A lot of people saying was part, a lot of their success was down to as well as the manager. It'd have to be someone. I mean, I'm not a fan of Frank Lampard, and obviously he's not going to come to us, but he's proved himself a few times especially in the Championship and things like that. So, but yeah, don't come as a surprise to me. You know, I'll say no one wants to see someone lose their job, really. You know, you come across as a nice guy. I've already said, like, I think he'll do well at a club where, you know, the structure's kind of already, because there's a lot to work on with us as well. But I think he'll do well, you know, starting again, like in League One. I don't think he'll be out of work for long, personally. And he'll probably do all right because he's obviously, you know, managed a couple of clubs before. He'd done all right at Wycombe, but a lot of that's down to, you know, he's a former player. In the all the players knew who he was, etc. Looked up to him and things like that. That can go in your favour. But when we've got a mishmash of ex-Premier League players or Premier League academy players, this, that, and the other, and they don't believe in your philosophy or whatever, then eventually you're just going to lose them. And I think that's happened. And you know, what was going to give him another 3 game, beat Mansfield, Northampton, and then lose to. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. We need to go on an unbeaten run. It might not happen straight away, but normally, you know, if you bring in the whole squad automatically, psychologically, will refresh themselves, and you know, whoever comes in, hopefully, you've got a decent amount of experience, and like you said before, a bit of, you know, ruthlessness about them, you know. But also, we 100% need to go into the free agent market. You know, it was called that. Now we're not, you know, we're not going to do that. We have to do that. I know there's not major players out there. You know, obviously people were talking about was it Jamal Lewis? But obviously there's a reason why he ain't got a club. So I don't really think we should be touching that area. But you know, I think there's a couple of half decent players out there. They'd have to be well beaters, bang on a year contract, just to, you know, they got experience in that position, and then go in January. I don't think we should wait until January. But yeah, not really surprising. I mean, we can get into, what do you want to get into, Stephen's game briefly? You know.
Yeah, I mean, we can go in it in terms of, we're not going to do player ratings and stuff, guys, like we usually do, because first of all, we're not giving a man a match because don't really feel anyone deserved it. It's probably 2 good players on the pitch for me in that game on our end. And also, yeah, there's just not really any point. But in terms of the game itself, I mean, we can talk about the areas which obviously cost him going into this game, in the sense of obviously ending up being sacked. And for me, I said it in the reaction, and I said it during the watch along, is the one up front. I mean, you can't be doing that with the amount of strikers we got. You know, it was Nordos. Obviously, you didn't say it, Dad, and you said it. You emphasised it on the watch along, just in case he didn't have a great game, which he probably didn't. If we're going to be totally honest, you know, it doesn't really benefit him. But the type of player he is for me, it's more so that, you know, he's a link-up player. He's not really going to get loads of goals, you know, and it just doesn't really benefit him. And just the fact again, and I know he played well against Doncaster, but you know, sort of trying to shoehorn players into right back. Obviously, Makoso, I'm referring to there, and I mean, you look at both the goals. It's from the right hand side again. I mean, it's similar to the goal we conceded, the second goal against Blackpool. You know, and just moments like that, and you know, he knew he was basically a dead man walking, given by his reaction after the game. You know, the way he sort of just gone to the tunnel. Fair play to the players. You know, some of the players coming over, you know, despite playing awful, let's be honest. You know, they've still come over. Obviously, they stopped clapping a little bit, but, you know, at least they still come over, some of them. But yeah, I mean, they were the ruining points. And let's be honest, you know, as soon as they got the couple of goals, you know, they could have scored again. Keeley was poor in this game. You know, distribution was awful. Nearly led to another goal. People might go, "Oh, it's the wind or not?" No, like he weren't great anyway. Let's be honest. And also, you know, you look at just the lack of team spirit. You know, we concede them goals, and our heads are just dropped. It's the same rubbish from the last 2 years. And you know, like I said in my video earlier, obviously, you know, we know it weren't the right appointment when we got him in. Like, let's be honest, in the sense of, he never managed in the championship. It's always going to be a big risk. And I don't actually think when he like maybe when he thinks to get back again, but when you proper think about it, I don't think he actually like noticed what he was actually stepping into, like in a way, because there's so much pressure. In the sense of obviously we're in the Premier League the year before at the time we got him. Do you know what I mean? We want to, get out of this. And don't get me wrong, when he first come in, we looked much better defensively, but we didn't get a win. I think it was for like 7 games or something.
8.
Yeah, yeah. Either way, it's a long time, as we know. And I was at the first game. It was a 0-0 draw to Preston, I believe it was, if I remember rightly. And yeah, like it was just I mean, the last game of the season. I mean, like with all due respect, like he's a nice guy. He'll do well, like you said somewhere else. But he failed twice at us, if you think about it, because obviously he got relegated from Championship, and his selections that day were awful. To not put Naismith in that game was criminal for me. And then obviously the start of the season we've had with the expectations that Sweet and that have said that, well, more so Sweet obviously said that our expectations are he had to go at some point because, like you said, Dad, and we've all said it, it'd have been that stage where it'd have been a repetitive cycle. We'd have got a, fluky win, then probably lost the next. Do you know what I mean? It'd have been just a repetitive cycle. So fair play to Gary Sweet, like I said earlier, in the sense of the timing. He just, for me, we have to be patient now. Don't be rushing around trying to get a manager. We've got time now. Good timing with the international break. We need someone that's gonna, be that have that ruthlessness to their managerial, sense to get into the players and don't look at it from an aspect of someone that's going to take us to power court. Look at it as an aspect of get us out of this rut right now. That's what we need because we've got a good enough squad. We really do. And, like you say, Dad, we need to fill certain gaps. I've done a poll, right back, left back, or both. Do let me know what you feel we do need. But, yeah, we need someone who's going to fill in that rut now. And there is options out there, don't get me wrong. I mean, the ones you're seeing in the bookies and that, a lot of them don't really favour to me personally. And I know, obviously, you said the same, Dad. But there's good managers elsewhere. And, we can if we dip abroad, give it a go. Give it a go. I know it's a bit different because we're not quite in the Prem. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit harder to attract. But, if certain people look at where we was, only 2 years ago, that can appeal to them. It really can. So let's see. Let's see what happens. But yeah, just quickly say your thoughts on the game, Dad. I'll be back in a second.
Yeah, like it's just the same. The first half, the conditions, but you just play on the floor. No one really. Both teams were just playing hoofball, really, head tennis, etc. But to go 0-0, you'd have to take that, I guess, considering how poor we've been. Keeley in the first half kind of immediately come rushing out where he didn't need to. He needs to stop that. I don't know what he's doing. I know he's played in like Premier League, under 21s and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know why he keeps doing that. I think he's lost his confidence a little bit. Obviously, we know there's a good keeper there. And then just the same old Cook attack, pushing too far forward. We had a little spell where we were a little bit dominant, didn't score, and then they just hit it over the top or bypass the midfield. 2 goals, easy as pie. Took their chances well. Their crowd was really up for it. That's what we used to be. That's what we used to be. That's what we've lost. So yeah, not great. But they've done us a favour. They've forced the hand to the directors. Let's see who we get.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But yeah, let's go through some comments in terms of what everybody is saying. Big up to everyone inside as well. Good evening, lads, says Paul. Broomfield gone. Now, obviously, a lot of people when we had him did say that, and a lot of them were trolling, like in the sense of Broomfield, but it is actually autocorrect for some people. So yeah, let me know if you actually meant to put that. Big up Ty, big up Dazza, big up to yourself, mate. First time I've left a match earlier walking out, said he had to go. Yeah, I mean, I saw a lot of fans when we were watching it leaving early, and you know, that type of game, despite how they've done in the season so far, I mean, when you look at it in the sense of, like I said, these guys used to sign our cast offs.
And the thing what I will say about that, obviously, I don't know if they kind of knew that we was on a downward spiral anyway. A lot of their fans turned up to see that. If we were like top of the league, I don't think
Yeah, their fans were buzzing going into it. They were saying like this is the most confident they've ever been against us.
They were walking around like they were watching Hemel versus fucking Enfield or something. They shouldn't have been nowhere allowed to be walking around like that to push the ball out of Makoso's hand like they did in the throw-in. Just things like that. And then their own ball boys swearing at the fans, like it's embarrassing, really. Like, do you know what I mean? Like it's a bit tin pot. But emotions got the better of them. Do you know what I mean? They're all like young fans because But we'll finish above them this season anyway. Do you know what I mean? Because the thing is with them, they'll get a couple of injuries and they'll be stuck. We got loads and loads of injuries, and we're still sitting 3 points off the playoffs. So. Yeah, it's just annoying. And then trying to create that rivalry, shouting on, and a lot of our fans were just standing there, like, not they couldn't even be bothered, like, to chat back to them. A, because Watford, and B, because you can't believe the shit that's going on. Do you know what I mean? More than anything. But yeah, that's all I will say. And get into some comments and get into some of the odds which have been flown about already.
Yeah, we'll get into all of that. Big up to Terry as well. Couldn't wait till Christmas. Like Edwards, Gary Sweetland, a lesson. Yeah, indeed. Jackie has said this before. She wouldn't want Jamal Lewis due to his injury record. I mean,
I think he's clearly unfit.
hmm.
And he was a quality player when he was fit. So why do you think other clubs haven't took him? And I haven't seen him like in earlier on. When they're for the transfer window, or even when it's still open. There's like free agents, and they go to a certain not like academy, but like a place for free agents where they play matches competitively, they keep fit and things like that. That he wasn't there. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting. Obviously, Jamie did become a member. By the way, guys, you can do that. It would help the channel out. We've got 4 members now, and we're also going to do hopefully, if we get to 10 members, we're going to do what we do for the score predictions, like we said the other day. And you can win a signed shirt. We're going to do a spin the wheel thing on the internet because you can't do that. So that's what we're going to do. You won't be able to see this stuff, but basically when we were going through it, we put like Luton based stuff, and we actually had Bloomfield. So we're gonna have to change that. And talk about changing. Did change my profile picture on YouTube. Let me know if you do like that. Bit more updated because that last one was years ago. It needed a change. We need a hard, tough demands respect. Yeah, exactly. Terry says Bramall and Nordos should score. Poor defending second goal. Poor from Keeley. Yeah, obviously you were saying that as well, Dad, on the second goal. I was saying that about Nordos. I felt he should have scored. Don't get me wrong, it was a decent save, but the amount of space he's had, I totally agree, Terry, mate. I think he should have been doing better. We didn't see the Bramall chance at the time, but we obviously, I've seen the highlights. I saw the chance, and I can understand why people are frustrated with it. It's a good pass in by Richards, who, other than that, had a pretty quiet game, if I'm going to be honest. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people are saying, I didn't mind it personally, like going into the game, but a lot of people saying, don't put Bramall higher. Maybe it won't, next time, due to obviously not having the best of games. I thought as, the game went on, he was all right. He's one of our better players, especially in that second half, but that chance is obviously the letdown. It's going to be tricky to find a good replacement that can do the job we require. Yeah, of course. Like in the sense of, you look at it last year when we got rid of Edwards. We were sort of in a better position in a way because obviously we're in a higher league, the Championship. Do you know what I mean? So it's going to be hard to get, certain names, I guess. But as long as we get someone that's ruthless and not really what we've had the last two managers. And again, yes, Edwards got us to the Prem, but in terms of that character, our last two managers, I ain't got faith that they're shouting at the boys and telling them what's what, essentially. Um, Big up to Andrew. He says it's going to be difficult to get right man, in my opinion. Get someone like Warnock in just for a season. It's someone with that kind of mentality. That's what we need. Just someone that's going to. And it goes back to what I said as well. Don't get someone that you think's, can lead out power court. Get someone who can get us out of this rut. That's what we need. We need to be in the highest league as possible with that stadium. Otherwise, we're going to be nowhere near selling out. So ideally, you want to be in the championship or obviously the Prem, but realistically, the championship. So I totally agree. But yeah, in terms of odds for next managers, we will have a little talking to, and do let me know while I do. We have a look at it and discuss it. Who you would like to see personally, like get realistic ones in. And obviously, we'll talk on it and things like that. A heavy one I've seen, Dad, actually, probably the most favourite on a lot of them. I'm not too sure if you know too much about him. Luke Williams.
Yeah, no, I don't want to.
Don't want him.
Right. He's obsessed with that. So pass it out from the back. He Russell Martin's understudy. Nah, not for me. I don't. Do you know what I mean? I like attacking football now, but they're them two. They're just, especially Russell Martin. It's just an ego, mate. He won't change it. It's a bit like how Ange was at Tottenham. It's like my way or the highway, mate. No, thank you.
Sort of like how Ange is.
He would come to us anyway. Do you know what I mean? But I'm not bothered about that. No, I don't. Not Luke Williams. I think that's just the name's been thrown in there straight away. Not for me, man. Definitely not.
Yeah, there was a lot of different opinions on the video I did earlier, which was interesting to see. Other names. Well, the thing is, what I will say actually before we get into other names, obviously, you mentioned it earlier when people talk about Lawless and things like that. Obviously, we got him tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. But, what if it don't go well tomorrow, for example? Obviously he knows inside the club he's a good player for us and things like that. But, yeah, I still don't know. Like, I would probably keep him where he is in terms of the youth team, building up the youth team and things like that. Personally, even if we did look really, really good tomorrow, for example, obviously Russell Martin's up there, not for me, and I know you're the same, Dad. Again, the football, I'm not appealed to the football. I mean, look what he's done recently in the Scottish League, which ain't the best. Let's be honest. And he's sitting there, struggling, and it's the football, but that football's always put me off, and we do not have the players to do that at all. Let's be honest. Could you imagine that? Flipping hell. I mean, the game that put me off in terms of him as a manager, and people go, oh, it's against the top team. Liverpool away in the FA Cup. They should have been 3-4-0 up. They ended up losing. I'm not even joking, by the way. They ended up losing, flipping 3-0 in the end. First half, they were all over him. It should Southampton. It was 2 or 3. I think it was 0-0 at half time, maybe, or 1-0 or something like that to Liverpool. But then second half, they just passed it round the back. It's way too confident. You can't, be doing that. And I could imagine him doing that against the better teams for us. No thanks for me. Richie Wellings is also up here. Go on, Dad. You have your thoughts.
Sure.
We'll take the dog. What about the dog? Dog manage?
Well, I don't think so. But Wellings, I wouldn't be adverse to that. He's been around the league. Was it who's he on now?
Leighton Orient.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, they're not doing great this season, but they did have a lot of players taken away from them. They have got a lot of money to spend. I don't think, but they'll probably still do all right with him. Previous to that, he's done well with them, and also the fact that he's worked with Keeley before. Keeley was probably playing his best football, if you like, under him. So I wouldn't be too averse to that. I mean, the Blackpool job's just come up, so There's another guy called Ian Everett. Is he the Bolton manager?
Yeah.
You know, he's done really well there for a little while. But, you know, he's being linked with the Blackpool job because he's a former player, etc. But I don't think they can just poach him like that. I don't think they've got to pull it. If anyone was going to poach him, it would be us. But I can see you're kind of looking at them because they've been in, they know the league, but then so did Bloomfield. Yeah, do you know what I mean? So it's tricky, but I'd say that they've got more clout. Both of them have got more clout than Bloomfield has. But again, you know, possibly if it's out of them two, I'd rather go with Richie Wellings. But I don't think it's going to be any of them. Obviously, who else was people saying? The Walsall manager, no thanks. It's similar to Bloomfield, one club that he used to play for. You know, done all right last season. The structure's already there. You know, so it doesn't surprise me that they're up there again. Who else we got from here? Carrick, he ain't going to drop to us.
And I'll be honest, I mean, you know, obviously we wanted Edwards to go. Don't get me wrong, he started well with Middlesbrough. Obviously, they took their first defeat this weekend, but you know, we didn't really rate Edwards towards the end. So if he's getting replaced with Edwards, not for me. And I think his character's similar as well.
Steve Evans, you're having a laugh. I don't even know why he's on there. John Brady, who's he? Like, no thanks. Sean Dyche, not really. Like, we're not going to get him. Ex-Watford as well, no thanks. But he's still there, and they'll probably do it this season. Do you know what I mean? But and they'll be there to finish that job as well. So Jack Wilshere, definitely not. No experience whatsoever. Definitely be the wrong decision, in my opinion. So yeah, like, but names that are not on that list. David Wagner, I'd definitely be looking at him. I'd 100% looking at him. I think he's got quite, good. A team the size of Luton, I think he could do really well at. You know, he's got a lot of experience in football as well. And maybe the former Sheffield Wednesday manager. I know he's young, but he's managed in big club, you could say, in the Championship and done reasonably very well, in fact, with fuck all money. Someone like that with a bit of both. We're not going to go for some 66-year-old. We're not. There ain't going to be Warnock or fucking any of them boys. They're not going to be chosen, guarantee it. But they won't go with someone they will go with a young person, I can guarantee you that, but it'll be someone who's got much more clout on their CV, like they've won, they've finished third in this league, or they've won the EFL trophy. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know it doesn't sound a lot, but it's more clout than what Bloomfield had. And they've tried it before, like they've done that one clout stuff, and it worked with Nathan Jones, and he was under 21s manager, wasn't he, for Brighton, but Rob Edwards, they done it, and it worked for a little while, but most of that we know was built by Nathan Jones and John Steele before him. So they will revert to type, but they won't. They'll have to get someone in between for me. So do you know what I mean? Because you can't go one way or the other, and they're not gonna get an old head like people talking about Rooney. Behave yourself. That's never gonna happen. Russell Martin's not going to happen. Steve Evans, Steve Bruce, that's just definitely not going to happen. So it'll be someone that's not on that list, I would say. And don't forget, Blackpool are looking at manager as well, and a couple of them managers, Wellings, Everett, like I said, are being linked with them as well. So. Ideally, someone who is proving their stock is the former player manager at Swansea. Sheehan, yeah. The thing is, as well, I think McCormack, who played for us for a little bit, I think he's an assistant manager at Leyton Orient as well. So, that's an interesting one. And then you've got the Bradford manager. And I'll tell you who else.
Someone said that in the chat. Let me just go to that. So, yeah, it was Terry. Look, there you go.
Yeah, he used to play for us as well. But also the Wimbledon manager, which is Johnny Jackson. We were linked with him. We were looking at him before, so he was on our hit list before. So that wouldn't surprise me. And he's done. Look, he's done well with Wimbledon. He's doing well with them now, and they lost a couple of good players, and they ain't got a massive budget, so that'd be interesting. And I like their goalkeeping coach. Obviously, shout out to be my next door neighbour, and that he's always wanted to come to Luton. He told me, so you never know.
Mates with Shay as well.
Yeah. So do you know what? I would proper be up for that, because he's proved his worth to say, and he's been managing for a couple of years now. And you're not going to get someone from the chain. You're not going to get, we are not going to get. What's his name? Former Forest manager.
He's abroad, Steve Cooper.
Yeah, and some of these other managers, because we was talking about the Oxford manager, the former Oxford manager, but he's managing in the Saudi league. So yeah, we're not going to get someone of that area unless someone gets sacked, from one of them clubs within the next few days or whatever. But even then, it depends who it is. But yeah, that's not going to happen. For me, you've got ones that can get teams fighting and go. And I think yeah, Johnny Jackson. I know he was on our hit list. So someone like that. Most of the people on this list. I mean, Lawless is on there, but come on, it's not going to happen. And then yeah, some people obviously chatted about Nathan Jones. I know he's a good man, but it just seems like it's beggy, isn't it? Really, and he ain't going to leave Charlton anyway to go down the league.
And we don't think this personally, but obviously a lot of people in the fan base, and let me know if you guys are the same in the chat, obviously were disappointed with him leaving. I mean, I weren't, because it was a Premier League team, do you know what I mean? And his family, some of his family support Southampton, but if we were to bring him back, a lot of people wouldn't really be on board with him. And you need someone who's going to, be given a chance.
Refresh. That's sort of going back to, we know that definitely. Do you know what I mean?
And the thing is, why it didn't work at Southampton is because they didn't back him. I mean, I remember going on the Southampton podcast, and shout out to them guys.
They didn't want it personally.
But people, they were saying their fans
weren't. Now look at them; they're below them in the league, mate.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, Charlton are doing really well in the Championship, so it's not going to happen, is it? Really? Let's be honest. It's not like it, and it's like someone said in this group chat. I mean, earlier, if we were in the Championship and we were maybe just below Charlton or something like that, I could see it. But the fact we're not in the same league, I can't see it. And I just don't think it makes sense, like we say. But we'll go through some comments. There is a lot of comments on managers. Yeah, Stephen said Ryan Lowe or Stephen Schumacher. Now, I actually don't mind them in sense of the way they come across, especially obviously Ryan Lowe. I mean, he done really well at Plymouth. Obviously the Plymouth fans weren't too happy with the way he left all them years ago.
Yeah.
But my only worry of them two is, you would say we're, with all due respect, we're better clubs than obviously Bolton and Wigan right now, despite where we are. Still above them both, I believe. But I just don't know if they'd leave a job. But then again, Luton do get their managers in.
But for me, he's a northern, do you know what I mean? He's a Scouser and that, I think.
I think they both are, to be fair.
I don't know. I think he has got that ruthlessness and that, but I'm not sure. A lot of stuff goes on with him in the background, I think. You know what I mean? Who was it he left? Preston, wasn't it? Because they wouldn't spend or something. Was it Preston?
So he left Plymouth. I don't really know what happened. He was at Preston, yeah, that's where he went. But I'm not sure if anything actually happened there in terms of a falling out. There might have been. I mean, if anyone knows in chat, but I know there definitely was. The Plymouth fans didn't like the way he left Plymouth.
Yeah,
I know that for sure.
Oh no, yeah, he left Plymouth and went to Preston, and then left Preston because they wouldn't spend it. And yeah, I don't know about that. Schumacher, who's he at now?
He's at League One as well. He's at Bolton. So that thingy, the one we had, well, not we had, but when we played Bolton, obviously Evat was the manager. He's now at Chesterfield, I believe it is, if I'm correct. He might not even be a manager now.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Other comments. I mean, how would you feel about this? Obviously, Blue Terrier is just a neutral. Good to see you, Blue Terrier, in the chat. I haven't seen you in a while. Chris Houghton, what do you think of that?
Yeah, but other people talked about him. But when was the last time he had a job? Obviously, because he was at Brighton when I think Nathan Jones was his assistant or something like that. Anyway, and obviously he's got a hell of a lot of experience.
My only thing about him, obviously, we
sure.
spoke about the age. He's 66, so I just don't know.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I don't think that's what we're going to go with. I get it. People saying we need to get someone to get us out of this and this, that, and the other, but I'm not sure. I don't think I'm just going to check because I don't think he's had a role for a while, has he?
It doesn't look like it. Looking at it now,
Forest, Ghana national team. Yeah, no.
Jeez. I never knew he was at Ghana. That's mental. Other comments. Blue Terrier, obviously, Huddersfield fan. They were in the league last year as well. He said John Brady is an underrated manager, in my opinion. His Northampton team were tactically one of the best we played last season.
Yeah, they sacked him, didn't they? Did they sack him? Pretty sure they did.
I'll be honest. I'd be lying if I said I looked at League One last year. Well, I did, but towards the end, not any old game.
Let me double check. Yeah. I mean, he got him into. I think he probably got him promoted, didn't he? To thingy and that. But I mean, they ain't got a lot of money. How old is he? 50. Yeah, possibly. But for me, it's just a bit of. Do you know what I mean? A bit underwhelming. Like, he hasn't really got. He's more lower league player as well. I'm not saying that, but he hasn't really. He's managed Brackley and Northampton. Do you know what I mean?
This is apparently why he left, according to Blue Terrier. Because apparently he couldn't take.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, and that's probably true. To be fair, do you know what I mean? But when you can say that, but then you look at other teams, like Wimbledon, they think, well, they've probably got less money, but Stevenage, they've probably got about the same money, if not less than Northampton, and look how they're doing. Do you know what I mean? So,
and I'm pretty sure from memory, obviously compared to Wimbledon, as we all know, but Northampton have been in League One for quite a while, as far as I'm aware. Decent seasons now.
I mean, we haven't talked about Neil Harris. I mean, interesting. Or actually, or is it McCormack's? I don't know. No, I think he's at Leighton Orient. I don't know. Like, he dropped quite low, really, because he was in Millwall. He was excellent at. Obviously, worked well with Saville. They definitely know each other. He's definitely one that won't mess around, I don't think. Cambridge started, but don't forget, Cambridge has always been like a League Two kind of team. They haven't really never had the budget, etc. Currently, sort of in the playoffs, well, we're playing them tomorrow, so do you know what I mean? But I don't know. I think he could do it. I think it may be the wrong timing, but I think he could probably do a job for us. Because I think he can bring that mentality.
Yeah, I think he could. Yeah, I do. Because was he their manager when we drew 0-0 with them in that playoff season? When I can't remember if it's the year we went up. With 0-0, do you remember we played early kickoff? Not sure if he was in charge then.
Possibly.
You guys might know in the chat what game I'm on about.
An excellent striker for them, and he when he was there. I think he was there twice actually. He got him into near the playoffs or around there. Do you know what I mean? And that's in the Championship. So yeah, I feel like he could probably do a job with a club like Luton as well. But yeah, that would be a funny one, wouldn't it? That could be, potentially be. I don't think it will happen, but potentially be his last game for Cambridge. But yeah, all I care about at Cambridge, I just want. But Pelly will be there anyway. Hopefully, like just put him on a bench, let him even, let him see his old pals and that. Do you know what I'm saying? I know it's sort of sentimental and that, but right. Yeah. So see, some of these coaches, yeah, they're bored. But the thing is, as well, it's not just about the manager; it's about the assistants that they're going to bring in as well. Because obviously, you generally trust, you know, who they bring in. But you know, Jones brought in older heads, and maybe if it is someone with, you know, who is quite young, it'd be interesting to see who they bring in. But yeah, that's a hell of a lot of part of it because what was it, the analyst, you know, the guy that leads at the stats. Oh yeah, that's why we put Thingy on the bench and all that. I think I said to you before, there's too much in that sometimes. Do you know what I mean? So getting AI to flipping decide who picks the team. Do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I don't think we should go too heavy. I know that they do look at stuff like that, but you can see that it hasn't really worked out for the past. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you just need rawness and emotion, something, just instincts and things like that. But yeah, any other names?
This is quite an interesting one. Rich from flipping hell. Sorry, Rich.
Well,
Grant McCann.
yeah, I mean he's done pretty well with them.
Hmm.
You know, he's managed. I think I'm pretty sure he's managed in the championship before.
Yeah, he was at Hull when we went to that game when he was under a lot of pressure when we beat Hull 1-0.
Yeah,
When Elijah scored, Fred got the assist.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, we had him then.
right. Yeah, um,
And I didn't watch it, but a lot of fans, like Luton fans, that wouldn't mind him coming in, they said to me they watched his post match when we beat him, and like apparently that was like I haven't seen it, so I can't. You know, I'm just saying. Apparently, he was really like what we would want in a manager.
mm,
You know, but the only thing me personally that worries, well, not worries me, but sort of puts me off him a little bit is his time at Hull. But then again, I look at it and I think, well.
yeah, but when they
You know,
got
Hull
relegated,
got rid of Sellers last year, and
when
all
they
right,
got
didn't do
relegated,
great at Sheffield United, but
when they got relegated from the championship, they got them back promoted straight away from League One.
yeah,
Um, you know, and then they sacked him because they got taken over by someone. We went to Peterborough, but Peterborough in free fall anyway. And then he's done all right at Doncaster. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, and he's a tough guy. He's a little bit older. He's younger than me. So yeah, I think yeah, that's probably a good shout. I do think there's a possibility we're going to get someone from League One who's got a bit of, or it will be, you know, them outside them couple I talked about earlier. I don't think it'll be anyone that we've seen on these so-called, you know, betting odds and all that. Really,
yeah, we're very off the radar, you know, really, when it comes to it, if we're being honest, especially in the past. Please get Graham Alexander. Obviously, we did talk on him earlier. You know, he's a player. Well, he was a player for us, I'll say. I just don't know if he leads Bradford with how well they're doing. That you know, I know obviously they dropped 2 points the other day, but come on, like for their whole how they've been the whole season,
yeah.
I just don't know
It's
if
just
he leads.
his former player, and you know, you could argue. Some people would argue that they're a bigger club than us, but you know, not for the last few years. But you know, they're trying to get up there. I don't think it's the right time. And then obviously you got Stephen Robinson, who used to form a player for us 20 years ago, manager at Motherwell, St Mirren, or wherever it is. But for me, we've obviously he gets leaked every single time. But we don't seem to go for him, or maybe he's not applied. I don't know. But Scottish League, for me, it's not great. Do you know what I mean? And this is another reason why Russell Martin, like, maybe the players just didn't want to play for him. Do you know what I mean? Because I do kind of believe in his philosophy, but you've got to be somewhere like Barcelona or something like that to be doing that. Do you know what I mean? Or top end Premier League club. Yeah. And I think it's part of that. And you know, he sometimes in them leagues you have to play not dirty, but you have to, you know, hit the ball long and stuff like that, and things like that. And I haven't watched a lot of their games, but I've seen a couple of them. Look at Asgard, ended up going there on the recommendations of his Norwegian manager, and that's right messed it. But it might be all right. Depends who goes in there. It probably gets Gerard back again or something. some people talk about Gerrard. Not enough experience. Again, excellent player, but yeah,
Yeah, I mean the major
he
part of
was out
also
there
why,
when you think about it.
yeah, major part of why he got sacked. 11 points off, and that's not even. By the way, Celtic ain't even top of the league at the moment. It's actually Hearts by 2 points, which is quite interesting. But yeah, I mean, I didn't watch their. I can't sit here and say I watched their games, but I did keep an eye on a lot of them. I mean, that, like you say, Asgard, he was getting low ratings and things, and yeah, I mean, they actually got a decent squad as well. Like, especially in terms of that league, they actually made some decent signings across the summer. They got what's his name? One of the players. He was a decent player in the Prem. I think it was. To be fair, I think I'm referring to. I think I might be referring to Max Aaron's actually. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure that's who they brought in. And like, for that level, you know what I mean? Decent.
yeah,
Obviously, got Rothwell, who's experienced. Just having a look at their squad now. They did make a few good signings. Obviously, they've still got Tavernier, and I think he's been good. Obviously, we know back in the day, Jack Butland was really good. He's there. He's their keeper. Obviously, Asgard, as we say. I mean, they've got decent players. So, yeah, it's a bit worrying, really, that they're not even, at least in the top three for me. So yeah, it's the right decision. But yeah, just the football, the way he plays puts me off. Blue Terry also does say David Artell. Now, if you don't know who he is, I've just had a little look myself because I'll be honest, I didn't know the Grimsby manager. I'm not too sure if he was the Grimsby manager when they absolutely, battered us.
no. I think he's new there.
Yeah, well, obviously the highlight when you talk about Nuden, I guess, is that win against Freefall Man United, I guess. But yeah, I'm not too sure. I haven't seen enough of him to really judge, to be honest. Um,
I mean, he managed Crew for a bit as
I
well.
know they're doing not too bad in the league, as far as I'm aware.
But it's the league below, isn't it?
Yeah,
Crew were kind of like the league below, I think, for a while as well. But,
yeah. I mean, Terry in the chat says Johnny Jackson is a good shout. Obviously, we did talk on him, the Wimbledon obviously manager. Shout out to Nightlight as well. Good to see you in here, mate. Be interesting to see, know what the criteria the board actually have when appointing a manager. Going by Jones, Edwards, and Bloomfields, it seems like younger managers with little experience. Yeah, obviously, like we said, Nathan Jones was sort of sort of one off, I guess, in that sense. But yeah, it sort of refers to what you said, that it's going to be a youngish. We just need someone who's going to tell the players, yeah, that's what we need, man. That's what we need. And I don't even care if it's like a younger sort of one, just someone who's gonna show that backbone, and we're gonna be able to see it. Do you know what I mean? Like, say for example, before a game, people might say it's a little thing, but like when they're coming out, do you know what I mean? Like the manager going back towards the main stand and going, come on, like, do you know what I mean? Something like that, like, it's something like that. Read that comment. Stephen says Phil Parkinson knows his football. Obviously, if you don't know him, he's the Wrexham
when
manager.
he half managed, that guy.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean,
nothing against Wrexham fans or anyone like that, but anything associated with them at the moment, I'm not. I don't really want to be anywhere near it, to be quite honest with you. And it's just more so the for me the overhype they get. To be honest, like sitting there going, "Oh, I want to do what Luton did." Well, you won't, because the difference is we didn't have money until we got to the Prem. Do you know what I mean? You've splashed cash, to go every league. Would he bring Elliot Lee back? Oh dear. But yeah, he's decent. He's decent, but from what I've seen, obviously, to do what he's doing. But yeah, I don't know personally.
he's a Wrexham manager, mate. He ain't going anywhere.
Yeah. No, yeah. Other obviously, some other names. Like I say, we've gone through most of them, to be honest. In terms of ones that are more so, we're not, saying other ones. But I mean, any other ones that you can think of in the chat?
I mean, I know some people said go abroad and that, but I don't think that's how, depends on who you're getting. You can't get something unknown. And Watford went down that route millions of times, and that just never worked out. I just don't think that we necessarily go. I know Wagner, but he's half German, half American, I think. And he's mad, but he's done bits. He's got promotions and things like that, and he's not, worked alongside Klopp, etc. Doesn't mean he's comparing to Klopp, but he would have learned things from working with him and playing with him as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was just trying to look. I think Watford have got a foreign manager now, I believe, as well. So yeah, it's all interesting. But I did do a poll, guys. Obviously, when we were talking about the free agent department earlier, I said, what do Luton need? Left back, or right back, or both? And it's actually quite close. Big up to everyone. 17 votes, by the way. 12% left back. Obviously, that's not close. But a right back, 39%. And, or no, yeah, 39%. And then both is 50%. Now, like I've said, I said going into the seat, like during the transfer window, I felt a left back was more of a priority just because if Bramwell gets injured, then what? Obviously, we didn't quite replace Doughty. Obviously, not to his level, but I just mean in terms of getting someone else in. And then the more I think about it, if I had to pick one or the other, it would have to be right back because, like I said earlier, you look in games and we're not even playing a right back there because we ain't got any because obviously Walters is injured. So I'd probably have to say there, but ideally, yes, I'd agree with you guys in the sense of, obviously both, and that is where, I think our squad's good, really good in terms of, the attack and things like that. But it's just them areas in particular we haven't addressed for me, and hopefully now we go in there and get the players because we've still got, enough spaces in the squad as well on top of that. But yeah, I mean, what both for you, Dad, or one or the other?
Yeah, both. I mean, I know we're waiting on injuries and a couple of players to be back and that, but at this present time, you need them. So even if you get some, like I said, some experience, not outstanding players, but players that just do their job there, so enable the rest of the. Do you know what I mean? Team to do what they're supposed to be doing. Yeah, I think we will go into it definitely. And then in January, depending if we get someone from one of these clubs that are doing well, then managers do tend to go for players that they like at their former clubs and go in for them and that, and maybe that could happen. I think is in there a good left back and Leighton Orient. I'm sure that we was looking at one of their players possibly before.
Yeah, we were looking at a few of their players. Yeah, obviously the striker department as well. When we were searching for a striker, obviously trying to get Kelman, we were looking at another player. Yeah, I think he's a younger player. I think I know roughly you're on about. Obviously, in terms of the free agent as well, just quickly. Obviously, there is that former Coventry left back. He ain't too bad. I know he's a bit older. I think he's like 30 something, but he's not too bad. Obviously experienced. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, there is actually players out there. Some decent players, just getting them up to the swing of things again. But I said it to you earlier, Dad. If we get someone in, obviously, when we get the manager in, obviously the players will still need to get into the swing of things in terms of if we did go out there and get someone for free. However, they'll come out. Do you know what I mean? And I could see them being on the bench. It wouldn't be none of this. Oh yeah, they're still going to get into the swing of things. We just put them on the bench and manage their minutes through games because we ain't really got time to waste now. The board have come out and obviously sacked Bloomfield now, so that to me that shows intent. But like I say, we just need to. We got time. Do you know what I mean? We don't play until. I mean, let's get specific dates. I think it's the 18th. Is it? Yeah, the 18th against Mansfield. Like you got obviously, enough time to just make sure it's the right one because, like I said, as much as Edwards did, obviously capitalise on what Nathan Jones done and did get us to, the promised land at the time in the Premier League. I just feel the last two managers we've had in terms of characteristics, in terms of coming across like, they're sticking it on the players when they're not being good enough. I don't have faith that them two done it. So that's what we need to do. And again, Ollie, mate, obviously I know you're neutral. We have spoke on this. Not for me. I don't like his style of football, especially the players we got. I mean, we tried to do it at times under Bloomfield, play like that, and it's just ridiculous. And you know, we got, with all due respect, we got a goalkeeper who flipping comes out like crazy sometimes. Imagine seeing that passing around the back. No, no, not for me. Makoso can't really pass the ball out. I'll be honest. He's good at actually defending, except maybe marking. He needs to work on that a little bit. But in terms of tackling that, he's good. But his passing, you know, in terms of passing it, you know, off the ground and things like that, you know, across, nah. So there's players in our team that it just wouldn't work doing that style of football. And that's not Luton. Do you know what I mean? That's not Luton. That's not how we've ever really played. Let's be honest. You know, probably a glimpse of it under Edwards, you know, when we was playing the ball down, and you know, at first when he come in. But overall, that is not how we play. And, you know, we've said it, you know, even if we don't get the most attractive results, but the performances are there in the sense of, you know, like under Nathan Jones, for example, where we used to, you know, dig deep to get a result. You know, even though it's 1-0, it wasn't pretty. We won the games and you could see that there was good performances. Do you know what I mean? Whereas the last two managers, when we have won, you know, obviously more so Bloomfield, you know, they haven't been good enough performances. They've been boring to watch. Do you know what I mean? Like, in the sense of not even like wanting to get off your seat and go, well done, like great defensive work, like Blackpool away, you know, when we won 1-0 that time under Jones. Do you know what I mean? Like, that was a brilliant defensive display performance. Whereas the other games, you know, under Bloomfield, they've been, you know, if we've won 1-0, it's been crap to watch. Do you know what I mean? It's been awful. Like, just the other team just ain't been good. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's how I see it. Big up to Spencer inside, saying hello to everyone. Big up to yourself, mate. No, no, no. I don't know who the first one is, I'll be honest, but Rudvan Thingy, no, he was awful at Leicester. Absolutely awful. And again, I don't want to go to someone who's, you know, who was a good player.
Yeah, it's just a big name. And he's
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, people might go, oh, yeah, but then he can influence the chat. Well, he didn't with Leicester, so, you know, I can't really see him doing it with us. He wouldn't, well, he probably needs to drop down to that sort of level, League One or something, to be honest, because he went, what, straight to the Prem, to be honest. But, yeah, not. I wouldn't take him personally. Big up to Ben in the chat. Obviously, we have spoke on the Bolton manager, obviously the ex-Bolton manager, he says here. Yeah, I mean, when we played him in the FA Cup, he was the manager, and they got a draw against us. We were a Premier League team then, and obviously we were out that game, fuming, let's be honest.
Well, this guy, he replaced Nathan Jones when Nathan Jones left Brighton, and you know, was managing like the younger teams. Stockport, they got rid of him. Went to Dundee, his assistant, got relegated. I mean, he's got some taste. Bit, I'd say he's I don't know, just like a kind of Graham Jones kind of character. You know what I'm saying? For me,
Yeah, you don't want that.
He's not really got.
One thing I will say about him is he was awful for us.
Too risky.
One thing I will say about Graham Jones, as much as he's awful for us, and he's clearly a good coach, but not manager, was he was ruthless. I'll give him that. He was ruthless. Maybe a bit too ruthless. Let's be honest.
He was dissing the club as well.
Yeah. Them comments, yeah, they were ridiculous. But in terms of, like, maybe it's a bit too harsh what he said to some players sometimes, without this player, but in terms of, you know, being that ruthless, like, that was, I didn't mind that. But yeah, in terms of in-game management and just tactics and other comments, he was awful, absolutely awful. So yeah, man, I'm glad, if I'm being honest, we did not do T-Boys TV then, because we'd have been fuming every single week. It'd have been even worse than it's been the last 2 years. Ben does say he's tuned in late, but yeah, big up to yourself, mate. He says, would you have Alex Lawless? Obviously, we did talk on him. Not for me personally, no. Obviously, I know he's in charge tomorrow. Like, you know, I don't mind that at all. I like that we're doing that because, like I said in the video earlier, when we got rid of Edwards, we had his assistants then managing us when we played Forest. I didn't like that. You know, that's like keeping Bloomfield's assistants and having them for the game tomorrow. That makes sense. I'd rather keep him in and around the youth team because also with him, even if we like say we looked so good tomorrow, like we won like 3-0 and we looked really, really good. We did win 3-0 last time, went there. I'd still look at it and I'd go, he's got a lot to learn still. Do you know what I mean? Like in terms of being a first team manager, and I like him being in and around the setup. I like that, with the youth teams and things like that because, when I went to the Barnet game, it weren't them people that are in, like Lawless and that are in charge tomorrow. I think it was like the team below that, but like two of the boys were late and the manager was sticking it on him. Do you know what I mean? I was thinking at the time, is our main manager like that in the first team? Do you know what I mean? Like we need that. We need that in the first team. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what they're like tomorrow. But it's going to be interesting to see what we do play tomorrow in terms of, will we stick with a 4? Do you
I
reckon?
think there'll be a lot of youngsters in there.
Yeah, of course. But do you reckon we'll play 4?
Yeah, I think we probably will.
Yeah, I mean, let us know in the chat. Would you think we'll play? But I expect to see like Shane goal. For example, I do expect to see some like people that are in the first team. Chigoze, I want to see him start. I definitely want to see him start in this game. Richards,
yeah.
I think we'll see Nordos or Wells.
Probably Yates again as well.
Hopefully Lynch, not starting. Well, I don't mind if Lynch started. To be fair, Phillips. Hopefully we see him in and around the team. Obviously, apparently he played really well for Bedford the other day. A few Bedford fans were telling me on the TikTok.
Probably their best player, man.
Yeah, apparently, well, it sounded like it, given by what they were telling me. They were telling me he was just running rings around their team and just looking good. I think they won 2-0.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's only there for a month, but I did say when I spoke on it, it'd be more beneficial for him anyway, because originally he was at Torquay. And then when we played Barney, he'd have had to travel all the way from Torquay, whereas this is much closer. So, yeah, hopefully we see Lynch, like I say. I want to see Lynch come on this time, though. He didn't come on against Barnet. And hopefully it'd be interesting in terms of the midfield. Like I say, Richards, I expect to see him. Might even give a few more youngsters a go, especially in terms of Lawless there. You'll know what youngsters are obviously doing slightly better than the others. So it'd be interesting, man. It'd be interesting. But I still want to see quite a lot of, first team players. Obviously, even if they don't start. Like Yates, I want to see Yates start this game, maybe. Started against Barnet. Obviously, he didn't feature against Stevenage. Go 2 up front. I think we've got to go 2 up front, man. Even if we go Yates and another experienced one, or Yates and, I don't know, Lynch. I don't mind that. I honestly wouldn't mind that at all. Again, I just don't think we'll get him, mate, because he's one of the old ones, and that don't really appeal to Gary Sweet, is probably the way to put it. Again, I wouldn't mind him for his ruthlessness, but then again, I look at his time, I think it was at West Brom, and it weren't. I think it was West Brom. It weren't great. So yeah. Yeah, exactly, mate. And Shane goal, want to see Shane goal, definitely. In terms of that, but yeah, even though we don't know what the hell the lineup's going to be in that, Dad, score, just random score prediction.
Oh, man, I'll just go 2-1 Luton.
Okay, I don't know why. I've got a weird feeling it's going to be a draw. I don't know why, but then I think if it's a draw, it goes to penalties because the Barnet Brighton under-21s game did for some weird reason in our league. Even though it's, I think it's Brighton under-21's first game in it, Barnet's second. It was weird. So yeah, and then penalties, I'd back us to win, I guess. So yeah, hopefully we top the group. We should be topping the group realistically. And then a few days after my birthday, we do play the last game at home against Brighton under-21. So should be winning that as well, to be honest. And maybe that might be the game where loads of youngsters play compared to the first two. Given that it's against, a team at sort of their level, I guess, in that sense. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Zach Nelson, yeah, that's a good shout. Obviously, he didn't feature against Stevenage as well. So, yeah, he could play. Pretty sure he played against Barnet. So, yeah, big up. Big up to Ben. He's gifted memberships, guys. So, come on. Big up to Hanno. Hanno's on it. Come on, Hanno, mate. Good to see you, mate. Hope you're well. I'll be there tomorrow. Not a clue what to expect. Yeah, which guessing really, mate. Yeah, I mean, there's last minute decisions if you want to go to that. they're doing that, and a lot of people probably will now, because it's as much as Lawless and that most likely ain't going to be in charge in terms of going forward. It's a new era. It's sort of something to look forward to, hopefully. But like I say, hopefully I don't rush it, man. Hopefully I don't rush it around. There's no need to, and I'm happy they've done it when they've done it. And this could get a lot of fans back on board, especially in terms of with the board themselves. If they get a good appointment in, because obviously the last two ones have really worked, I would say, in terms of the characteristics as a manager, not really achievements. But yeah, big up to everyone. Any final things, Dad, you want to say
It's
before?
going to be a crazy, week or so. But yeah, I think everyone's just sort of waiting, bated breath. Like they make the proper decision, and I think they will. But it is hard to get. You can get turned down by certain managers, but there's enough in that pool for me. And personally, I think they're going to go for someone who's in League One now. I'd say.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Given by obviously going last time went for a manager, it's obviously someone that was in a job. But yeah, it'd be interesting as long as it's someone who's. I wouldn't even mind if it's someone that's like in terms of getting someone who's in a job, someone who's a bit experienced, even if their team's not doing as good in League One. So yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting. But obviously, when we do officially get a manager, there will be a T-Boy discusses on that, and I'll touch on it, and then obviously we'll touch on it on the next show we do at the time. But yeah, we'll leave it now in terms of the hat shows now until we play Mansfield, and then yeah, we'll obviously just get into that and probably briefly touch on this game. But yeah, as for this game tomorrow, we'll be doing a watch along. By the way, Dad, I don't know if you know, and people in the chat, obviously Phil will because he's going to it. The game's actually at 7. So it's much earlier. Yeah, I didn't realise till earlier. So it's much earlier than usual. 45 minutes earlier, really. So yeah, I will be live about 10 to 7, hopefully, and hopefully it's no issues like the other day in terms of the game. And then yeah, obviously there'll be a match reaction after. We'll talk a bit about the lawless ball, I guess. See how that goes for the game, and we'll see how the players play. And yeah, it'll be interesting. Oh, there you go then. There you go. I saved a lot of people there. Yeah, I didn't know myself. I did not know myself. Yeah, big up to yourself, Ollie, mate. But yeah, do check out the video I did earlier, talking on Bloomfield as well. Big up to everyone that has watched that. And yeah, do check out the short I posted as well. Like I say, be back again tomorrow with a watch along, so do tune into that. And yeah, smash a like, subscribe, follow me across all my socials, subscribe to the extra channel. And yeah, man, no problem at all, Ben, mate. Appreciate you still tuning in, and you can watch it all anyway back. If you want anything else to say. So yeah, mate, big up to yourself. And yeah, nice one, Ollie. And yeah, big up to everyone. So yeah, until tomorrow, I will see you guys in a bit. So yeah, take care. Peace.